This is the right door, this is the left door, this is the top. I'm going to turn it over, and you'll notice at the top there's a very small pilot hole right there. That's where your magnet plates are going to go back. You've got the magnet plate, and 3 screws. The tiny screw is the one that attaches the magnet plate. This plate has a couple little bumps on it. That's going to go toward the wood because then it'll keep it from turning. The plate should be parallel with the top short edge when it's in place. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the handle on. Each handle is attached with 2 machine screws. I think it's easier just to start them with the fingers from the back side. This is the same size as the plate's on. Just so it catches a little bit. And then I do the same thing with the next screw. Get it started. And then I tighten the handle down. We have 2 kinds of pins. There's 2 pins. There's a 3/4 inch pin that's going in the ends of your braces. And then you have an 1.5 inch pin that goes into the doors. The only place this 1.5 inch pin will go. 3/4 inch pins will not work because they'll go too far up into the wood. So then you take 2 of the inch pins and insert them into each end of the door. It's okay if those are loose because they act as a pivot. This is the top front brace. Has 2 blocks nailed to it. That's where your magnets are going to go a little bit later on. Has 2 access holes. That's where your 1 3/4 inch machine screws will go. And then there's another little hole, and what we're going to do is we're going to put the shortest pin, 3/4 inch pin, into each end. 1 in each end. You have to, you can always tap it in a little bit. If it's loose, that's okay too. This is going to go down. So this is going to be the top of the top front brace. This is the bottom front brace. You'll notice it has the same holes on the ends, most of the same holes on the inside, except there's a couple little holes you got to take particular attention to. That's these 2. That's where the door pins are going to go. And so this is going to have to face up when you do your assembly. So to complete this one, put a pin in the end of this one. And a pin in the other end. Okay, now we're going to assemble the spice rack. You got a right side, and you have a left side. They're mirror images of each other. All the holes, if you put them together like that, they'll all be exactly the same. You have 2 shelves. You have a top shelf and a bottom shelf. They're exactly alike. The front edges are tapered, and that's going to go on the front. You have 2 holes in the back. Get them, my fingers start both of them. That makes it easier to line up. And then just tighten them up. I'm going to attach the bottom shelf first because we're going to have to put the dowels in just a minute. The thing I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this over on its back. I'm going to insert the tubes, the metal tubes. And then we're going to attach the left side, these 1 1/4 inch number 8 screws into the pilot holes. It's in place. Make sure that the holes on the top shelf are in the top shelf. These are here, just ignore them. They're not going to serve any purpose at all. And now you have your spice rack. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to attach the sides to the drawer back. You notice the two little holes in the right side. We're going to make sure that those line up with the hole in the back. And I'm going to take 4 of a 1 1/4 number 8 screws, and I'm going to start them through the back. See, I'm just going to start them right through the back. I'm going to line them up in the pilot holes in the back edge of the drawer side. I'm going to start both of them. That way you can look down the little crack there and you can see where that pilot hole is and make sure you've got it lined up. And put the other side. Now, one other thing I want to note, you'll know this is the outside because there are 2 little pilot holes. That's where your glides are going to go a little bit later on. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the drawer bottom. If you look at the drawer bottom, you have one side that's a little better than the other. Take the best side and put that top. Take that, put it into the notches, slide that into place, making sure it goes into the back. And then I'm just going to put this aside for just a minute. The drawer front, invert it, and now I'm going to take and put the bastion system in place. Bastion system, we have a separate section that explains that a little bit to you, but this is another good primer for it. It consists of the post, threaded post, with a hole in it, a tapered hole, notch in the top for a screwdriver. Then you have a little barrel nut that's going to go into the drawer sides, and a little set screw that ties it all together. Look at your instruction sheet to make sure that you have the hole in the post aligned properly. Take a little bit of mineral oil again. 2 pilot holes on the inside. The other holes here are for the handle. Just get that started. If you use a power screwdriver on this, you want to make sure you don't drive the post past the threads. You want to make sure, here again, line that hole up parallel with that slot. And we're going to put that bastion post. First I'm going to align the slot to the drawer bottom. See that bastion post is going right into the big hole there on both sides. We're going to take that, threads out, and I'm going to insert that into this nut access hole right here. Threads out, the little notches are going parallel with that brace. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And we give you a little wrench. We're including a little hex wrench that fits the top of the set screw. Sort of like to put it on the end of the wrench. Sometimes makes it a little easier. And start threading it in. Now what's happening is that the tip of the set screw is going to hit that taper in the hole in the post. And you can feel it start tightening up. It's like a compression system. You can feel that tighten right up. That set screw doesn't go all the way in. It just makes a nice tight joint. And then you do the same thing with the other side. Now if that doesn't tighten up or you still have a loose joint, then you don't have the post screwed in far enough or you have it screwed in too far. Just quarter turn, 3/4 turn outward once you start turning it out and aligning those holes. And then you have the drawer. The last thing we have to do is to attach the drawer handles. Here again, I just start them by my fingers. Take a screwdriver, and actually the end of these machine screws are slotted so that you could actually use a flat-headed screwdriver if you don't have a Phillips, but you We need Phillips for the Phillips screws themselves. How we're going to attach the drawer glides. They come in the pack. You open up the pack and you'll see there's 4 separate pieces to the glide. 2 of them go in the drawer, 2 of them go in the cabinet. The ones that go in the drawer, if you look at the end of them, they're sort of like a Z or a backwards Z. And between the left and the right, if you look near the wheel here, right in behind the wheel, you see a DL. That is the left glide. There's a similar marking on the right one that says DR. So the way this goes, the wheel's going to go to the back of the drawer, and all of these holes, I'm not going to use any of those, that's going to go under the drawer, and you'll see the pilot holes are lining up here. Okay? You have a little pack of screws. They come in a separate pack. They say 5/8, number 5 screws used on the drawer side glides. Now the reason these are different size are, once you get them assembled and you get the drawer glides and the cabinet glides in place, if you have too big a screw in these things, the drawer wheel is going to hit on the heads here. So you got to make sure. These are number 5s, drawer sides. Just take a small screwdriver. Here again. Wheel to the back. Got a little ridge here. Right under here. The wheel at the back.